Johnny, the Booker man, cometh, the Booker man taketh, the Booker man does it by any means necessary. We're here. It is Monday. We've arrived. We've arrived. Back to debate, friends. I am Doc Lesnar, the podcasting beast, and that guy over there, the best podcasting machine. J.A., how you doing?
Wow, that was a lot to take in.
By any means.
Did you just
whatever it takes.
Did you just Nation of Domination me?
I did a lot of things just now.
There's a lot to take in.
I'm feeling almost the energy of an ultimate warrior. There's like Docomania running wild within my body.
Yikes.
I feel fantastic.
Yikes.
But how are
Well,
you
folks,
doing?
I'm always tranquilo. Doc L.E. Delo. Ponytail Brock returns.
Ponytail Brock.
We had a Punk return. And I think I just want to open up with this one.
Sure.
Because during that said return, of course, the internet always likes to try to win. There was a fan in the audience who was.
Oh, I was going to talk about that.
And it became such a social media debate about when is it appropriate for men to cry.
Wow, that's so interesting. That's interesting. I mean, granted, I understand if that's your favorite wrestler, that's your favorite wrestler, right? And he's been waiting.
It's not just limited to wrestling.
Sure.
Like when Derek Jeter retired, I was in tears.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Like when we heard about what's his name when he passed away from the name redacted, but now football team.
Sure.
Like,
right.
We were pretty moved.
No, absolutely.
But the notion that men shouldn't be crying, whether it's wrestling or a movie or anything, like the lack of sensitivity that men should be having is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is definitely ridiculous. I can agree with that. I feel like, and it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because I know some people ask like, "Hey, when's the last time you really had a genuine cry? Outside of someone passing away?" And it's crazy. Like it's very random. I mean, obviously for me, like it's very very rare and random R&R, right? Not rest and relaxation, but rare and random. I remember like I was freaking sitting in the movie theater. It was a sports movie. I cry a lot during sports movies. I mean, that's no question.
And there's no problem about that.
Yeah, like oh my god.
I literally just watched Leatherhead yesterday.
Well, bro, it's like, oh my god.
Wow, like this is kind of underrated. Like I really enjoyed the scene with the first ever commissioner of football.
Oh.
And I'm like, it's like this is awesome.
This is so good. But no, like I was like, I forget what movie it was. It was about like freaking volleyball or something. I don't even like volleyball, but it was like, I was like, man, she's never gonna get a chance to play again. Meanwhile, she like died, and I'm like, oh crap, like, you know. But it was really sad. But the way they rallied around her, I can't remember the movie. If I remember it before the show is over, I'll bring it up. But yeah, like a good cry, and I'm just like, but even at that point, I'm in the theater, and I'm like, I can't believe, I can't believe I'm doing this.
To be so open,
right?
Like you're still kind of trying to keep within yourself.
Yeah, like I can't believe I'm crying over this movie right now.
The fact that people are making memes about him and all this other stuff.
Right.
Big shout outs to the wrestling community.
Sure.
There are wrestlers that's trying to find out who this person is so they can bring them in for shows and whatnot. Like that's the type of things that we need in 2021. Like people
so you know what?
Surprised, like how much kindness have been lacking in the past 2 years.
But you know what I was happy about? The aftermath of this, right? The aftermath. Hopefully this is true, but apparently Tommy Dreamer is trying to find this young man, which is the aftermath. I mean, obviously someone tried to make him the butt of a ridiculous joke, but
because
the
it's the
fact
internet.
that, right. But the fact that, and then I think about it, you have the shocked Undertaker guy. Obviously, you have the Randy Orton winning young girl who was super mad. You have
That was the
certain
Miz.
people. It was the Miz. Okay, yeah,
That was the
Miz.
Miz.
So you have there certain people who, we catch them and it's like, oh my god. But at the end of the day, if you love wrestling or you love anything, you love it. Like it's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think you should be ashamed of that. So shout out to him. Hopefully they find him. Hopefully they get him to AEW. Hopefully he gets one of those CM Punk T-shirts, right? Hopefully he gets to take a picture with CM Punk. He's front row.
Triple back order.
Well, yeah, hopefully. You know what? I hope CM Punk takes the shirt that he had on in the ring, which is probably worth millions of dollars, signs it, and gives it to him. AEW Dark, he gets to come out to CM Punk's theme song. I hope he gets the works.
Doc would actually watch AEW Dark.
I would watch AEW just to see
because
that.
Because we're not going to tell out the other thing.
We're not. We're not. We're not talking about anything else after that. That's the only thing I could say. AEW Dark, PTB, Ponytail Brock, who apparently looks like Goro, right?
Or an onion, according to Adam Pachulia, Cultaholic.
So ridiculous.
Again, this is exactly how social media is now. Like,
yeah,
the lack of kindness,
right,
is such an anomaly. The rarity of a kind word to your fellow man or woman or child even is ridiculous. Everything has to be a joke. Everything has to be, how can we make fun of this moment for our benefit?
It didn't even have to be like that.
It didn't have to. No one told people to make memes about that, but they did.
Right.
In fact, and not only did they make a meme of that, speaking of which, and we'll get to the other things that we want to talk about because we're not going to spend the whole episode talking about it, but the Bobby Lashley situation where they turned that moment into a meme with the Michael Jordan.
So it was that, and then I also saw another one that said Brock's line, F those kids.
Yes. Well, they used Michael Jordan's face because,
Yeah. Which is very unfortunate.
But we know about the Brock one because, that's one of your favorite lines now.
Of course. Let's talk about those kids. Yeah, no, absolutely. But no, it definitely is one of those things that, we need to definitely talk about. I mean, and it's after a moment where here we are trying to, enjoy something that we've enjoyed for years, right? And the internet really is a booker man as well. It cometh and it taketh away, right? So it's like the internet, which we used to use as a source of just information, has come and gone. Like that whole sense of that has gone. It's just a ridiculous amount of things that we have to kind of swim through. It's like, imagine, the swimming pool, right? And you got a whole bunch of just leaves and dirt and everything. You're just trying to swim through it. You can't clean it, right? You can try to clean it, but you don't have John Gotti out there, right? So you don't have a cleaner. So you're trying to get through all this crap, right?
You said that, folks.
You're trying to get through all this crap. That's so hard, man. But I don't know, man. I just hope that we can eventually get better at everything that's going on. All that crap. But speaking of more crap, obviously we have to continuously deal with the realization of people trying to get back to normal, but COVID just keeps crapping on people. I'm sorry, Helen, I didn't mean to use crap in that form, I guess. I didn't say excrement. I didn't say donkey. I said
now
crap.
You did, and now she just came out of the office. Jeez.
I'm sorry, Helen. You know me. Blame it on my mind, not my heart. But we had two, maybe even more headlines regarding COVID. Obviously, Titans head coach Mike Vrable said he's been tested positive for COVID. And then apparently this morning, We learned that based on a misunderstanding,
quote unquote.
quote unquote, Cam Newton will be sat for 5 more days as they, I guess, wait for his COVID testing to come back. It's, I think this year.
Do you remember what I keep saying about, hey, remember there's gonna be a second wave coming? Remember
Right.
I said that?
No, you said it.
Yeah.
But it depends. So, but you know what? It depends, man, on what everybody's doing and
people are getting
what's
lazy.
That's true too. And kind of going away from what I guess some of the things that we didn't do, before. Like, hey, remember freaking Lysol was sold out, or hand sanitizer. People were making it in their basements. It was just a lot going on. And here we are. We got freaking. We just got away from that. Like, I'm okay, of course, with people not
we're
doing.
a society of extremes.
Yeah, big time.
Either we're going to be extremely cautious and buy everything and then try to pawn it off, knowing that you can't really pawn it off.
Right.
Or you're going to go the other side of the extreme and act like everything is right back to normal. The virus didn't exist. And all I want to do is watch football live.
And as much as I would love to get that, right? As much as I would love to,
I ain't gonna lie. Doc just is going to celebrate his birthday soon.
I am.
We will be doing a special little happy birthday to him. But I was going to get Doc tickets to the opening night game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I cannot, in good faith,
Can't do it.
Allow him to go to that stadium in that state at all.
No, I get it. I get it wholeheartedly. I want to. I really do. But
he was at midfield too, by the way.
Yeah, it would be good, but it's quite all right.
Go to NFL.com to check out the tickets.
Of course.
Even though they're not paying us, but
No, I get it.
Maybe I'll check out the Xbox ones.
Yeah. But yes, I get it. So we'll hopefully we'll have to wait and see what happens. Obviously we have. Let me see. The Titans play. Let's see. When do the Titans play? Let's see. Hopefully it's not like Thursday night or anything like that. I don't think so. I think they play Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go back and check. Let's see. Team schedules. Go Titans, go. The Titans play on Saturday. Nope.
Saturday.
It is. Oh, they have another preseason. Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. They have another preseason game, so it's good. And their next game isn't until September 12th. So he has enough time to quarantine and get everything else he needs out of the way, which is perfect. So hopefully, again, he doesn't. Hopefully he doesn't get too sick. That's the whole thing. I would say that's the one thing I would want to stress because I know that a lot of people are, of course, stretching the actual vaccine, but hopefully this is a good reaction, not a bad reaction to obtaining this COVID. But we also had some more drops from the top 100 list, boyo. But before we get there, wanted to get your quick take on the Draymond Green, Kevin Durant interview. I felt like the preview or the sizzle, as some people would call it in the film industry, I felt like the sizzle or the preview was better than the actual episode.
Well, that's kind of, I mean, think about like this. Like with cartoons, when we were growing up as a kid, the opening track really drew you in. Like you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like I gotta watch this show. Now it's kind of generic.
Yeah, yeah, and I credit Bleacher Report for giving players an opportunity, more and more players an opportunity to actually voice these concerns or voice these opinions outside of just
Yes.
doing a
So
regular podcast.
I say that to say this. I actually enjoyed the interview because it was unfiltered and it just let two people to just shoot the breeze. It's almost like it was reminiscent of a current podcast that two friends are just talking about sports.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny you mentioned that 'cause I talked to my wife about that. I did talk to my wife about that, which we don't benefit. Number one, for those who have flash photography, of course, right? Um, but we can't strike a 5-second pose like Edge and Christian would strike a 5-second pose because they have the platform. So you think about it, if we were NBA or NFL or if we had, I guess, some kind of sports or mime, success, and we went and did a podcast, obviously people would know who we are.
Of
But here we
course.
are, two guys just trying to make it in the business. We're not trying to imitate living legends or anything like that. We're not trying to take our ghetto booties anywhere and just we're trying to do it the right way, right?
I'm so upset with him right now. I'm so mad that he went
so so it's interesting because we built this from the ground up. So the 9 to 10,000s, or I can't even say that, they're probably 15 to 20,000s of listens that we probably received since we started the show has been all organic. Like everything has been a grind. It's literally, as the folks would say, it's been from the mud. Like we've got this from the mud and we've just built this empire from foundation of two friends doing a sports podcast. But here we are, we have two teammates, I was about to say Pro
former
Bowlers,
teammates.
Lord, two former teammates, two, Olympic heroes,
Medalists,
not
yep.
Kurt Angles, but Olympic heroes, right? And now they have this show for 15, 20 minutes. Everybody's going crazy, even though they didn't really say anything crazy on the show.
Yeah.
Hey, did our argument in LA cause you to ultimately leave, or who has the biggest chip on their shoulder? Like it wasn't really anything huge.
Anything special about it. But
The only thing special
because
was
of
that it
the
was a special,
notoriety of
right?
the two players and what they were planning on talking about, evastivated and, became so obtuse that everyone had to, have a take on it.
Right.
I enjoyed it in the context of it was just a really good conversation.
Yeah. And I think they enjoyed it. They typically enjoyed it because he started out asking him about, coaching and, his coaching and his play stuff. Like, hey, his play style. Like, hey, you're 7 foot. I know you don't want to admit it, but, you're 7 foot. How did you avoid getting put at center? Like, because I'm sure a lot of 7 foot players want to know that. Like, how did you avoid getting put at center or power forward? Like, how did you avoid this? And he was like, they did put me at center. I would just bring the ball up. And I'm like, that's very simple. That's something that somebody who's 7 foot could do. Plus, he's not stiff. That's a good part. So
Yep.
people who are 7 foot, hey, take yoga. So you're not stiff, I guess. But it was an interesting interview. If you haven't got a chance to listen, hopefully you do that. Similar to Friday's episode. If you haven't got a chance to listen to Friday's episode, definitely go and check that out with my interview with Jerome McLean of We Elite Sports and We Elite Sports TV about the upcoming flag football season. But back to football, we had 40 and up,
40 to 11.
Which there's some good players, some notable players that
Some
obviously I
new
see
people
here.
on the list.
Which I'm happy to see. One person in particular has moved up from 51 to 39, and that's Kyler Murray, who's my quarterback in fantasy.
He went a 51 spot, yes.
Yeah. Oh, he went up 51 spots.
Yeah, he was
which
at
is
93
okay. I thought
last
he.
year.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
So from 90,
51?
yeah, I thought it was 51. Okay, so from 90, which I'm surprised he was even at 90, but I guess his first season wasn't the
It
greatest.
wasn't the greatest, no.
So yeah, I'm really happy for him as well as Marlon Humphrey. Obviously, taking over for some pretty solid corners that were before him. He came in and really stepped it up, as well as he's a two-time Pro Bowler. So, and then right next, Darius Leonard, who just got paid. I'm actually surprised he's not top 30.
Ooh.
I'm surprised, but he did move up 13 slots. So even that doesn't seem right for him to even be anywhere near the 50s. He's a really, really good player. I expect David Bakhtiari to be here. He should have never had to rise 26 spots. I know he had some injuries, but why don't they knock it off?
But
This
another
is a
big
really
jump
good
was, of course,
list.
the next one, 35, Darren White.
Yeah, these are some good
64
players, man.
spots.
I'm so surprised that they were even down in the 50s and 60s. I mean, Waller maybe, because he, obviously he just started kind of turning over. I know he had the whole substance abuse thing going on,
Of course.
and he finally got things together. But I'm glad he got paid. And Chris Jones, I'm just shocked. I'm really shocked. Quinn Nelson, I'm surprised that he dropped. But when I look at the person or two people ahead of him, you already know how I feel about number 31. That's exactly where I think he should get paid. That's a good spot to understand where he deserves to be paid in that area, because I'm sure there are other safeties ahead of him. But we're looking at 30 through 21 here. The guy who let my fantasy team down, that dang Aaron Jones didn't beg enough to play in the game. Really, really hurt me. Obviously, Julio Jones didn't play a lot last year. So the fact that he's still in the top 30 and he didn't even play a lot last year is amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah. And making his debut in the top 100, Devin White.
Debut, the first of many.
Yeah, he stays healthy. He continues to dominate. He continues to be him. I think he'll continue to grow, and that's what I was saying. Like the fact that Leonard got the extension, I think Devin White will probably break that number. But we'll see. Hopefully, he takes a hometown discount. They'll probably tag him the first time, so we'll see. I'm surprised DeForest Buckner is over Devin White. I am surprised there, but DeForest Buckner has always been a great player. Even at his time I believe he went to Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, and then going to the 49ers, who was already stacked, and then foolishly being traded to the Indianapolis Colts is really ridiculous. But he's a great player. Obviously, Nick Chubb.
Of course, I was really happy about that.
Yeah, Nick Chubb.
Definitely,
I mean, he went up 10 spots.
I wouldn't have been surprised if he was top 20.
I think the only reason he didn't make top 20 is because he's sharing carries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bobby Wagner, I think he also had some injury issues, and plus that Seahawks defense has started to decline.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah. Talking about decline, Lamar Jackson falling.
It was more the hype died down.
He's still making great plays, though. That's so crazy.
The hype that died down. That's all it is.
I'm not sure. Hopefully, he takes this personal and he goes up there and really shows him what he got. Plus, it was him, and you had, I'm sure, Mahomes, and you had a couple other exciting people on here. So we'll see what happens. But he also had an MVP candidate year, right?
Exactly.
So we'll see.
So the two people that round off just missing the top 20, DK Metcalf and Fred Warner.
Fred Warner, one of the best middle linebackers in football. Hopefully the 49ers don't let him get away. DK Metcalf deserves everything. I mean, from the combine to what he's been able to do.
College.
So in college, he was trending. He had a projected, great. He had a good projected trajectory, right? It was
Okay.
He was projecting forward, but it wasn't until that mind-blowing combine where it was like, hey, he really put the focus in. But then coming in to Seattle and actually giving them a viable number one receiver, something that they needed for a long time, and helping Russell Wilson really get his thing, get his passing game on, even though they had some really great receivers before. But we'll see exactly what happens next. Hopefully he progressively gets better. And then 20 through 11, obviously we have Dalvin Cook, who fell one slot. Again, I mentioned some of the better safeties. He went up a slot, excuse me, cracking into the top 20. And probably if he didn't have some injuries, he probably would have cracked the top 15.
Like top 15, absolutely, hands down.
Budda Baker, obviously one of the better safeties. Again, obviously, we already talked about that last week. Surprised Deshaun Watson still in the top 20, but that's neither here nor there, right? We mentioned Xavier Howard, who held out clearly for a reason. Myles Garrett continues to dominate despite missing some games with, helmet gate.
That was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago. Okay, so it seems like last year things are going so fast.
It was when there was actually fans there.
Gotcha. He still dominates. Tyreek Hill being number 15. I'm pretty surprised.
They only talk about the Bucs game during the regular season, but not the Super Bowl. I just love that part.
Nah, I know you said it. Because he only got the chance to throw up the deuce on that one time. But we know who got him back. Alvin Kamara not being in the top 10 is also amazing to me.
Yes.
Wow, Jalen Ramsey. This top 10. Russell West.
Yep.
Russell Wilson and Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
Okay, so this top 10 is about to be amazing.
Stephon Diggs won me my fantasy last season.
Right. So the top 10 is about to be
on fire.
Tremendous. Oh my goodness. I mean, obviously Mahomes and Brady, we know are going to be on there.
Of course.
And obviously, the guy in Green Bay, he's going to be on there, even though this thing's going up. So I'm interested to see who else is on there. Saquon Barkley possibly might be on there.
Did Devontae make the list? I don't think he made the list yet, so he might be top 10.
He might be up there, yeah. So we'll have to wait and see. But I know you heard this podcast on your favorite podcast platform. If you didn't, you can always go to our website at www.debateamongstfriends.com, not only to hear this episode, but all the previous. Be sure to tune in Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as Doc and Prof give you the news, the analysis, and the reads.